He's not. I just got the side eye, and if you've ever gotten a cat side eye, like, it's a whole new type of cold. But for the record, I have initiated things. I have a very good friend who I initiated the friendship with her. I also have asked a guy out on a date. I've actually asked multiple men out on dates now at this point in my life. Stay in your lane, people. I'm just saying, stay in your lane. Oh, welcome back to Road Tripping with Rachel. I'm Rachel, and thanks for joining me here on this road trip. So, you might notice this is my bedroom. I'm currently on the floor because I thought this would be the most comfortable place for me. But I wanted, normally, like the fourth week of the month, like I'm sharing something I'm doing to help me be healthy. But I wanted to get on and maybe this month just share a little bit about some of the other areas of health because my big goal for this year is just I want to be healthy. And that is way more than just physical things. It involves, you know, being healthy mentally, physically, spiritually, emotionally, financially. Like, there's more to it than just like, hey, by the way, I've lost between 55 and 60 pounds, and this is what I'm doing, uh, like, to help me lose weight, and this is what I'm eating, and this is my exercise routine. And yeah, that's important and it's a part of it, but it's not the only part of what it means to be healthy. And I really think it's important that when we look at our health, we look at it holistically. So, how does everything work together with everything else? That I just want to go through and share just a little bit about where I'm at with some of these. So, let's just start kind of with one of the big ones, and that is going to be like financial health. And I don't know if you've noticed, like, with where our economy is currently at in the United States, but like, it hasn't gone down. Like, cost of living hasn't. So, it has been very hard to try and recover said savings. Um, so that's something that I'm still working on, and I have goals where that's concerned. And some of those goals have been like me, like constantly, like inconsistently, like reworking my budget and like where my money's going to try and get the most bang for my buck, so to speak. So one of the major ways that I do that is because I have Amazon Prime. I got it while I was in school, and decided to go on ahead and just keep it up. Is like I have Amazon subscriptions that will allow me like every month to get certain things sent to me, which that's nothing on this video is going to be sponsored, but that's one thing that I've done that has really helped me be able to make sure like I'm consistently, one, it helps me budget, but two, it also lets me be able to know that like I will always have flour and I will always have coffee and I will always have like some of the things, more like dry goods that I use on a consistent basis. So that's just one example of something like I've chosen to do. I've gotten rid of most of my subscription services, although I do have some that are related to like my YouTube channel. Is also like during like May through September, more or less, or May through October, I go to a lot of farmers markets because it's cheaper to go through them than it is to really go to the grocery store for like my fresh foods and things like that. So that has been some of the things I've been doing to really try and like get myself into like a healthy financial place. Um like mental and emotional I think kind of go hand in hand here. Um they both are strongly tied to like your brain. So like mentally, like I set a goal for myself that I want to read like 12 books and not just like by a book, I don't mean like a short little thing. Like, I mean, like, I actually want to read something that is substantial, like a memoir or work my way through something that's more academic, or although I do really enjoy fiction. So, being able to just read is one important to me because I love reading, but it's also good because it keeps my imagination going. It helps me be able to uh, actually sometimes learn new words and sometimes how to say them. It helps me be able to just keep my mind actively engaged. It's very easy for me to just focus on whatever's in front of me. But then when it comes to like my emotional health is the last couple years I have been much more open and sharing like my feelings on things, And I am not an individual who's necessarily emotionally driven. So that doesn't mean I don't have emotions. That just means like most of my decision making is not going to be based on my emotions. But it means like most of my decisions are thought out. I try to think about them logically. I am learning that it's okay for me to say, I'm frustrated, or I'm angry, or I don't want to talk to you right now, and this is why. I will come back to you later. So being able to put names with some of those emotions has been helpful for me personally. Being able to talk about them has been really helpful in learning how to explain it and recognizing that it doesn't necessarily mean it's a good emotion and it's not necessarily a bad. Um, I would say just like an emotion is an emotion. That's exactly what it is. It's not good. It's not bad. It's simply like the way you feel at a given moment. That spiritual health. Um, Anytime I go through a rough patch is always really when I always think that I grow the most because it forces me normally to rely really on God. And it's when my faith is really put to the test. At the end of the day, I know that God is going to take care of me. Spiritually growing has been finding the things that are important in my spiritual growth has been being able to have good godly conversations with people. So I have some very close people in my lives that I'm able to have like those discussions with, and I'm able to share with what I'm struggling with and what I feel like God is calling me to and what I'm feeling led to do. And how do I need to do that? And I consider these individuals to be like safe places for me to be able to express both like where I am at spiritually and then where I'm at like emotionally with this that spiritual development. As you develop as a person, your faith develops alongside it, and where you are at and how you approach different things also develops in conjunction with that. Um, and then physical, like, okay, so a lot of the stuff like I will post is about like my physical health, just simply because that is something I've been really actively working on, and it's something that's visible. Like financial, my finances, spirituality, like my emotions and my mental health, those aren't things that are necessarily visible to anybody. Now it's noticeable with the people who know me really well, but it is not something that like just the general public or someone who just knows me casually would really pick up on. You've seen Finny now in the background, Fenrir, my kitty cat, that I adopted. I have had been looking to adopt a pet here for quite a while, and then I made an emotional decision, which has proven to be really well. But I adopted Fenrir, aka Fenny, and um, one of the better decisions I made. It has really helped me to have a pet and another living creature, and he has taken over, has gone over to my couch. He has taken over my couch. And he gets very upset whenever I move stuff on his throne. The other thing that I think is really important is to realize that it takes time. It takes a lot of time when you're working on these things, and there's not ever going to be like a finish line for any of these. It's something you're going to just constantly be working throughout your entire life. And like I've said, like I'm single, I have a single income on a lot of some of these things. Like I know it's going to be like a long uphill battle with some of them. Some of them, like if you're married, you have someone else you have to consider. Right now, I'm the only person I have to consider in any of my decision making, with the exception of like some of the things like they'll affect my cat, but otherwise, I'm able to make my own decisions and I don't have to consider anybody else in them. Um, but don't beat yourself up for struggling. I know that's easier said than done. I definitely beat myself up for struggling with certain things. Like, I don't understand why I can't do like XYZ or why it's taking me so long to be able to reach this goal. But when I do have like a success, like it's important to me that I celebrate that success. And sometimes it's just harder to reach certain things than it is for other people. I mentioned this in an Instagram post here a couple weeks ago now, but a victory for one person might be something that's just a part of day to day life for someone else. When someone is able to rejoice in a victory, like just rejoice with them. And that way, whenever you have a victory, like they're also rejoicing with you. That's something we're called to do, like as the church, and what we're called to do as Christians. But also, I mean, just in general, it's just being a decent human being. like, rejoice with people who have worked really hard to overcome something, even if it's something that you wouldn't have had to have worked hard at. And just have friends. Like, that sounds like it's so simple, but have friends. Um, I know like it probably doesn't come across because like I'm sitting here on YouTube, but I am classified as an introvert. So like you can hand me whatever test you want. I score introvert every single time. That doesn't mean I don't know how to interact with people. That doesn't mean I don't like people in small doses. It just means that that is not how my battery is going to be charged. And it does play a role in, at least for me, this doesn't mean it's the same for everybody, but for me, it does play a role in my ability to reach out. It's a nerve wracking experience for me to like initiate anything. Um, like I'm able to kind of set it aside for my job because because we live in an extroverted world. So if you're an introvert and you have an extroverted job, then you have to learn how to be an extrovert, at least in that capacity. But in my personal life, it is very difficult for me to initiate. I jokingly tell a very good friend that the reason that we became friends is because her as an extrovert found me as an introvert and decided that I was going to be one of her people. Um, I don't know if it had been left up to me if I would have ever approached her and really gotten to know her. I'm so grateful that she reached out to me and did that. And I'm so grateful for all my other friends who are out there who um, really initiated something with me and allowed me to get to know them. Because it's not that I don't want to get to know someone, and it's not that I don't want to be friends or that I don't want to do things with people. It's just, it's very hard for me to initiate, and I'm aware that that's a problem. But for the record, I have initiated things. I have a very good friend who I initiated the friendship with her. I also have asked a guy out on a date. I've actually asked multiple men out on dates now at this point in my life. I think you also need to take steps to get healthy. Like have a plan. Like I have, like I mentioned, like I have a budget. I keep to a budget, and I plan out like when I know like major expenses are coming and what I need to put away for major expenses that I know are on its way. Like I do that. So like that's probably the most obvious place to be able to say like you can, to become financially healthy, you have to have a plan. I regularly like go and I see a doctor to help me like deal with weight loss. So my doctor and I have a plan like about like certain things that I need to be eating and how often do I need to eat and how many calories should I intake. Uh, those are decisions and conversations I've had with my doctor. That doesn't mean it's going to be the same with yours. And just being able to also like have a plan for like, okay, so how do I deal with my mental health? How do I deal with my emotional health? Those are things like that you can work with like with a counselor about, especially if you have some kind of trauma that's in your past. Like it is good um to talk to a counselor or talk to a psychiatrist or a psychologist or whoever it is that you need to talk to. With your spiritual growth, have an accountability partner or have that really close person that you're able to have a conversation with. Form a discipleship group. Discipleship can be formal or it can be informal. It looks different for everyone at different phases of their life. And that's just where I'm at. So all that to say, like with this video, it's not a typical video for me, but it's something that I've really been thinking about and considering now for several weeks, about just talking about like when I'm talking about I want to be healthy, because you talking very holistically, and I'm sharing primarily like the health journey. but that doesn't mean that I'm not working on other areas of my life too. Now, that does not mean I am inviting criticism from anybody through this channel. You know, stay in your lane, people. I'm just saying, stay in your lane. The people that I invite constructive criticism from know that I invite constructive criticism from them. But I also think that this is a topic that we don't really talk about very often, like within circles. And I think it is important that we just have these general conversations and chit chats from time to time, just as much as a check-in, but also to make sure that, like, hey, like, we actually we're working to be healthy. And so I hope you enjoyed my chit chat, that it's able to maybe help you in some way, and that if you enjoyed it, please make sure that you like and subscribe. That does help out my channel. It helps get my content out to other people. Thank you, YouTube algorithm. Make sure you also click the notification so that way you find out whenever I upload these videos, which I do every Wednesday. Otherwise, I look forward to seeing you all again next time on Road Tripping with Rachel. Bye.